Okay, I'm going to show you a demonstration that's going to be part of your acid-base lab. If you take a look here, I have 4 solutions. One is 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide, another is 0.1 molar sulfuric acid, another is 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid, and universal indicator. We're not going to be using this sulfuric acid for the moment. I also have a cup of water. Now, the use of the universal indicator allows us to see an acid-base change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this bottle, and I'm going to take a portion of this and add it to the water. And I need to stir the water. And we can see that there's a greenish color. I'm going to add a little bit more so that we can see the green a little better. You'll notice having a white background helps, and just a little bit more. Okay. Now, you really don't want to add too much indicator, because if you do add indicator, the acid reacts with the indicator, and so does the base. And so it can upset the reaction, if you will. Okay, so here we have our green solution. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this green solution, and I'm going to partition it between these 3 cups. Now, I don't want to put too much in any one cup, but the same amount in each. Okay, so we've got green solution in each of the cups. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide to this cup, and we'll compare it to this one to see if there are any changes. Whenever you're doing things like this, it's nice to have a control, a cup where you don't do anything to it. So this is our control cup. We're not going to do anything to it, so that we can compare the changes that we've made. Oh, and by the way, you'll notice I'm wearing my safety goggles, which is what you should be doing when you're doing this part of the lab, if you were doing this part of the lab, but you're not. So you'll notice I wrote 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide, so you know what this solution is. And here we're going to add this in dropwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we've added 8 drops of the sodium hydroxide to the solution, and you can always replay this, but you want to take note of the color changes that occur with each drop. It kind of went to a turquoise to blue to purple color. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we add the 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid. So we'll add this in dropwise also with stirring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so you can see what happened to this solution. It basically went from green to yellow. Okay, so those are our acid-base reactions here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this. So I'm going to pause for just a moment, and we're going to reset this, and we'll show you something new. Okay, so now we're going to try something different. I've emptied out the 2 cups and rinsed them out with water. And I'm going to pour a little bit of solution into each of these. So there we go. You can see they all match. So that means they all are the same as neutral water. And this time, I'm going to get rid of the 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide, and I'm going to put 0.1 molar sulfuric acid. Now, a little bit about this number here, the 0.1 molar. What does 0.1 m mean? It means that there's 0.1 moles of that substance in 1 liter of solution. So these two solutions have the same concentration, 0.1 molar sulfuric acid and 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid. Now, to each of these, I'm going to add some 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide. So we're going to keep the control in the middle, and I'm just going to add 10 drops of sodium hydroxide to each of the end containers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I've added the sodium hydroxide to each of these. And let's see what color we get. We get that kind of pinkish purplish color. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the 0.1 molar hydrochloric acid to this and see what happens when I add acid to something to which I previously added base. So we're going to add these drops in one at a time. We're swirling and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And you see it's kind of approaching the same color as the middle container, 10. Well, look at that. With 10 drops of the hydrochloric acid, we have achieved a very similar color to the middle container. So we have taken an acidic solution and we brought it back to neutral. I'm sorry, we took a basic solution to which we added sodium hydroxide and we brought it back to neutral by adding acid. Okay, all right, so let's see what happens when we do the same with the sulfuric acid. So what's our prediction? What's your hypothesis? Do you think that we can bring this back to green? Let's find out. And let's count the drops as we add. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, 5 drops, and it pretty much matches this middle container. So that's pretty interesting here. We were able to neutralize the basic solution with our sulfuric acid, but it only took 5 drops to neutralize, whereas with the hydrochloric acid, it took 10 drops. That's pretty interesting. That's your demonstration. All of these solutions can now be poured down the sink. Just to show you the kind of fun you can have with this, let me show you what happens when you add a whole lot of sodium hydroxide to one of these. So here's a whole lot of sodium hydroxide. You get that deep magenta color. And then I'm going to try and bring this back to green with some sulfuric acid. And we're pretty close there, aren't we? Maybe another couple drops. And we're back. It's green. And then I can add a whole bunch of sulfuric acid to this. And you can see that it turns a pinkish color. Now, you might think, well, is that the same as the base? Well, let's find out. So here I'm going to put this container here, and we're going to add a whole bunch of base to this guy and see what color it turns. And so the question here is, here's a whole lot of base, here's a whole lot of acid. Can you distinguish between the colors? I'd say definitely. One is a light pink and the other is a deep magenta. Okay, all right. Thank you for listening.